Good morning, guys. It's about 5:30 in the morning, and we are firing up the P7000 to knock out some more custom graphic orders. I wanted to go over in this video some of the questions again that we've been getting asked, because it's really interesting, some of the questions, and I want to discuss them in the video because a lot of times I think that we as shop end users, in terms of business owners and robot operators, we don't look at all of the variables involved with operating this equipment. And I don't care what brand it is, I don't care what size it is, the principles are all the same. Whether you're working with a printer that's $100, whether you're working with a printer that's $5,000-$6,000, the big difference in terms of the size of the printers is going to be, hopefully, the quality of the inks that the printer is laying down. Okay, because basically all a printer is, and I've said this in previous videos, is an automated painter with super precision. That's exactly what it is. It's using its print head, similar to what a painter does, as a spray gun, and going by and using your substrate as the actual material. It's going to lay that ink down, similar to what a paint gun does on whatever substrate a painter is painting, okay, with precise application. Now again, you can see here, just to discuss what we've got going on, got some Hartzels going on here, going to have some flames going on this sheet. But what I wanted really to discuss is the fact that when we get questions about substrates, it's very difficult without explicit detail of what you experience on how to answer certain questions. And let me explain. As an engineer, it's very hard for a question similar to, and this is something we just had happen, is somebody asked us, well, the material seems to be taking longer to dry. Now, again, I don't know what that means, because again, what environment are you in? What state are you in? How old are your inks? What printer are you using? I mean, the list can go on. And for detailed support, regardless of whoever you're asking, you want to make sure that you're being as explicit and as detail-oriented as possible if you're expecting the best support. And that goes with any company. You know, a lot of times people will, disregard with a one-line sentence exactly what's going on in terms of how well have you analyzed your equipment. And what we really need to know is the substrate itself is really a lifeless object. And when I say that, your equipment is a breathing object. It's got so many moving parts, there's variables all over the place, different ink brands, different printer brands. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Vinyl itself is pretty basic. I mean, it sticks to whatever you apply it to, hopefully. It's got, again, proper principles in terms of gloss or whatever type of substrate you're using. If you're using matte, gloss, the overlaminate should stick and be applied easily to your substrate. I mean, other than that, we look at the other variables, which is the robot it's working with. And that's where things get hairy. Your environment, your robot, how well that robot's been taken care of, how old is the robot, how often the print head is cleaned. I mean, we can go on and on and on. And all of these variables need to be covered in sequence. And right now, the best way I would recommend anyone today to ask for support in doing anything with graphics would be with a video. Produce a video on your phone, send it to whoever you have a question with, and go through the entire process. Go through an outline process, looking at it from the basis of, would you understand if you were sending this to yourself, what you're actually asking? Because if you wouldn't understand it, don't expect the company to understand it. And what I mean to say is, until you've gone over all of those variables mentally in your own mind, then again, we have to look at where your results are coming from. Because to get results like this, guys, this is not just the printer producing these results, okay? There's still some time here remastering, going through the artwork, doing everything that needs to be done before you're hitting the print button and getting the result. And I think some people do forget that this is still graphic arts. And in order to get good at it, you're going to have to practice it, just like any other skill. It's not something that you're usually going to just buy a printer and hit print and every print is going to come out perfect. It's not that way. And I mean, I want you guys to know the truth, and that is the truth. Of course, on YouTube, everything looks perfect. You know, no one films their blems. No one films, issues they're having with, certain graphics or certain remastering. No one's going to do that. They're going to show you finished product. Okay? But the question is how long did it take for them to get good at that finished product? Well, I'm going to tell you, it took us about, I'd say 7 years to get this good, with all the processes involved, with all the money invested, with all of the time invested, and you quantify that, and that's what's going to dictate the quality of your work. Okay, we can switch between all the substrates. You've seen it on the channel, and we go through, and you can see here, this is our glossy substrate, and you can see here the art. And the art's speaking for itself. I don't classify this as just the printer doing the work. We still have to physically go into the software, manipulate the software to give us the best possible settings in vibrancy, clarity, going through everything with sharpness, detail, whatever type of manipulation the client requests. And that's what's going to give you that finished product. Okay? Now, is it true that a better graphic artist is going to get better results? Absolutely, But when we look at things like variables in question, like, hey guys, I'm noticing that the backing is different on your material from this roll to the last. Okay, that's a different question, because again, I understand where it's going. Is it the same material? If we sent it to you in a specific time frame, it would be the same material. However, the backing isn't going to dictate anything different, other than that our OEM supplier, of course, may have switched the backing being used. There's multitudes of reasons for that. But as long as the adhesive is the same, everything is the same. That's not a variable that's going to change your print. That's not a variable that's going to affect how you apply your vinyl. Okay? So when we hear questions like that, it's more like, are you getting any problems? Or is this just a question that you're concerned with because you feel that the material is now inferior? Because, again, lots of things happen over time. And when I say that, again, dealing with engineering as long as I have, it really doesn't matter, those variables. The biggest variables that matter is how we actually use the substrates we're getting. If you receive material, especially like our HD Chrome, which is a specialty material, and you notice that you're getting scratches on it when you print, well, it's a metal substrate, so you want to make sure that your platen gap is going to be much higher. Now, on the Epson that we have right here, we always set our platen gap much higher, and we do that for space, so that we don't have print head collisions with the substrate. And that's what gives you that beautiful quality that you're seeing right there. Try to pan down a little bit. And that's why I say that everything is based on end user skill set. How long you've done it, your experience with the material. Be realistic in the sense, if you're getting involved in this, don't think for a minute you're going to buy a 10-sheet sample pack and you're going to immediately have 10 sheets of perfection. That's not going to happen if you've never used material before of, again, an inkjet substrate vinyl or a specialty vinyl. Most of the time, if you're using whatever printer you're using, whatever inks you're using, you're going to have some calibration required. So at that point, we recommend a sample pack only if you're realistic in the sense that, hey, I'm going to use probably 1 to 3 sheets on average, sometimes more, sometimes less, based on your skill set, based on your equipment, and based on your happiness level, so to speak, of what you'll accept. On this is what's required to give me the effect I want. But I assure you, and this is more interesting, is that when you're seeing somebody do this in front of you, and again, I'm realistic in the fact most people are not going to drop the amount of money we have on their equipment. I'm just saying it. If you're somebody just getting involved in this, it's not practical for you to go out and drop, $11,000, $12,000 immediately. Some people will. You want to dive in both feet? God bless you. But it doesn't mean the skill set is not going to be acquired one way or another with time, regardless of what equipment you own. You can go buy the best spray gun. It doesn't make you the best painter. And that's the difference. I'm showing you firsthand what we do, and very few people will attain these results just immediately purchasing the product and out of the gate working with it. It's very, very time consuming to get your workflow down. And I think that's something we all have to experience. If you're doing this part-time and you're doing it in a sequence that, again, you're only working on the weekends, you're going to have to be realistic in the fact that you're going to get out of it what you put into it. So if you're only working an hour on the weekend, that's your skill set level. And you're doing that in broken time. The more time you put into it, though, you're going to get great results. Again, we can see the vibrance on those flames, and again, that's once again why I do love the Epson Ultra. They just look amazing. And open them Hartzels. And again, on the vinyl, you can definitely see the glossy with the shadowing. You can definitely see that reflection. So again, I think these are variables that are seldom discussed and things that we wanted to discuss because we want to be able to support everybody the best we can. The big thing is that we ask you to support us the same way. And the easiest way, once again, to do that is if you're serious about getting the best support, that means that you provide us the best support in the quality of the pictures you send, or better yet, a video. We do have the technology. It does take more time, but if you're serious to get the best results, we have to see step by step the entire process from what you're doing in the software to what you're producing, and that will help us go to that next level. If you're not willing to do that, it's very, very difficult to just go in and say, hey, this is what your issue is. Because again, I wish it was just that easy to contact Epson or another printer manufacturer and say, hey, you know what? I'm having problems with these inks. They're going to be like, well, that's a one-sentence email. I can't really dictate what's going on. There's so many variables involved. You're going to have to be more detailed as far as what you're asking. That's why most tech support sheets, as far as request forms, usually have multitudes of questions. What operating system, what software you're using, goes on and on and on. Well, substrates, same thing. You know, I got to see what you're doing. When we see what you're doing, we can analyze it and we can work out a plan together to try, and that's the best way. A lot of people don't want to invest that amount of time. They want to hit the print button and they want to be, you know, Picasso as soon as you hit the print button. And it's just, I'm being honest with you guys. Don't buy material if you think you're not going to have any time invested to get the proper result, you know, but it will pay for itself. This sheet, for example, what you're seeing right here, has in excess of 40 sets of Hartzell graphics. And then, of course, the flames, and the flames are much larger. Sheet is 15 by 25 inch. You're looking easily at an $85 to $100 sheet, depending upon, again, what quantity we want to go through in terms of ROI on the sheet, okay? But the time is well worth it, and especially when we look up here, and this was done live. You're looking at, what, 10 minutes roughly to print this? And then, of course, we're going to do the laminate, and then we're going to do the cut, and that'll give us our finished product for our clients. But break it down, okay? Are you going to invest that kind of time at your work and be paid with that kind of effort to learn something? You're not. The better you get at the skill, the more money you'll make. And it's your effort to get better in whatever it is, whether it be tech support, whether it be with the equipment, whether it be with your software. That's what's going to yield the best results. And when you factor that in, there is no compensation that you'll get at a regular job anywhere, because you are now working for yourself, so you're not getting paid anymore in quantified time. Think about that. That's the most powerful thing you can think about. Your income becomes a limitless perspective. And that's something I cannot emphasize enough. So again, guys, I'm going to knock out this print right now. We're going to knock out lamination. Again, you can see the time there. That's shot live. I've been talking for about 15 minutes now. Again, we do look forward to supporting all of you the best we can. Please, of course, keep the questions coming, and we'll knock this print out. You can see our contact information at the beginning of the video and at the end. Thank you all for your support. Take care.